There's a secret to focus and attention, and that's what I want to share with you today. The mind can only process 50 bits of information. When I found this out, I had to really explore it and understand it a little bit more. So, according to Dan Koe, if you follow Dan Koe, he's a great creator in talking a lot about business and philosophy. So, he talks to being able to process 125 bits of information in your whole lifetime. And so what this means is you can't create if you're consuming information outside of your vision, because this ultimately diverts your focus. Most people spend time on the drama in their life, the fires, the things that overwhelm us. But really, we're losing the ability to process the right information. When you focus on the information that drains you, you are ending up with a complete wasted life. 125 billion bits of information may sound like a lot, but a lot of the information we are consuming is garbage. It is the stresses, the negative bias that are hardwired to shoot to the top of our minds. So when we create a life out of what's been programmed within our mind, we only see the information that comes through those filters and the lenses in which we see the world. Worse still, when we process this information, we are programming it even further, but we pick up on the programming from the others around us. But our brains function in two ways, and knowing this and the neuroscience that's coming out, we can actually find ways to hack this particular system. So our mind functions in two ways. We have conscious awareness, which is focused on the task at hand. It's our executive function. It's the part of our brain that is most alert. And you can think of this as like a computer system. These are the tabs that are open. Whereas our subconscious mind is the software that's running in the background. This is our operating system. This is where we see everything through the lens of. It's the deep, ingrained information that we've processed over the course of our lives. But if we're opening the wrong tabs, we're wasting our life in the wrong programs. The good news is we can rewrite these programs because the subconscious mind is deleting other information around us. So we only see a fraction of reality. If we begin to focus on the elements that are important to our goals and our visions, that's what we filter through. That's what we can see. Now, often the subconscious mind is running programs in the background to keep us safe. It's like the times that we experience betrayal or emotional turmoil. It sort of sticks those patterns into our mindset so that even though we're not conscious of it, these are the lenses in which we filter through our everyday life. Because the subconscious mind is running in survival. It's the data of the information that has kept you safe so far. What we filter within our minds brings intentional focus to the present. So yes, it's the subconscious mind that's got all this information, but knowing what is in the subconscious mind, we can filter our minds by bringing things into our intentional awareness. It's like a filter to create better results. Create a better filter, create a better life. In life, things can feel intuitive, like all is connected, but this has a lot to do with how we've become aware of what to focus on. It's the things that catch our attention and the things that attention has brought to us. It's the things that bring our attention, but also the attention we bring to things. Take, for example, AI. If you're a everyday person, AI, this new wave of technology that's coming through, and how much of a big focus is that for people who aren't business owners trying to leverage it to the highest possible capabilities that it has? If you are a business owner, this is going to be more top of mind for you, so you're going to see it 10 times as much as the everyday person. So while it might seem like AI is everywhere, it's really because your attention is being drawn to it. It's that executive part of your mind that's bringing it to focus. Out of all the billion bits of information that could be coming in, it's the awareness and the focus of our attention that is filtering out of all the possible bits of information to what we want to see, which is the top of mind. It's entering your mind. Our subconscious minds have pre-installed programs like the school system, cultural backgrounds, current beliefs. They are like when you get a phone and you buy a brand new phone and there's apps already installed on them. So we haven't put them there. They've been put there by the developers. So when we open that up, there are things that are already there. That applies to the programming that we've received as we were growing up. There are pre-installed programs that we have adopted as our own, but they're not necessarily. It is so worth challenging your thought patterns and whether they're coming through a lens of your own identity or one that's been conditioned within you. This is our subconscious programming. This is the things that we are not conscious of as being the reasons why we make the decisions that we do. It's like habits. They are so neurologically ingrained into our brain and operating that this is our default way of processing. But the reality of this is we can't filter everything. And it's like we can't be happy all the time because there's chemicals that go up and down and things change. But we can bring our conscious awareness to information we want to filter. When we do this, we're able to absorb more of the information related to our vision and our goals. So of those 50 bits of information, there are certain places that we would have missed. It's like the gorilla experiment, if you've ever seen that one. So I won't ruin it for you. I'll put it in the description below and you can check that out. That is a time where your executive function is not able to pick up on all the information that you receive because the nature of the way that our reality is formed is based on the fraction of information that we can actually process. That is why we can be bombarded by other people's views of the world. So if you've ever caught up with someone and felt really drained afterwards, it's because that information they have put onto you. So there's times when you can't actually escape the information that's coming in, particularly with people that you know really well. That information is like a filter that's coming towards you and there's nothing you can do about it. You can get up and leave, of course, but this is what I'm talking about. The information that's coming through, that is what you have in your control and focus. And we want to be mindful of what diverts our focus. Like any fluid, electricity or code, our brain has almost like an on and off. And your attention is key here. Choosing the right information and filtering it through what you want to process is how you do this. In other words, narrowing your focus of attention. This will sharpen your ability to see the connections towards your goals and vision. Now, the difference between goals and visions is that a goal requires narrow focus, that executive part of the brain, whereas a vision is more big picture processing and it involves more of the subconscious mind. A famous quote by Jim Rohn is, "Goal setting is powerful because it provides focus. It shapes our dreams. It drives the ability to hone in and on the exact actions we need to perform to achieve everything we dream in life." So pursuing goals requires holding relevant information and filtering out distractions. Goals are short-term specific targets that engage the brain's executive function and demand focused attention. Brain imaging shows that during goal-focused tasks, the brain actually suppresses its background activity in the default mode network. The default mode network is organized as the baseline brain system, and this is what is suspended during specific goal-directed behaviors. The default mode network is like a bridge between the conscious mind and the subconscious mind. When the default mode network is on, it often involves internal, self-reflective, imaginative thoughts, and it's like daydreaming, so we're reflecting or planning for a future. These are the thought processes that aren't happening in the moment, but are in relation to your thought process. So you might be focused on a task, but the moment distraction comes in, form of distraction may be just the default mode network beginning to be turned back on again. So while they feel conscious as we drift towards the default mode network, it's actually tapping into the deeper processing of the subconscious mind. It's looking for the future possibilities or reflecting on the past, so how we can make sense of our world. So it makes a lot of sense that when you're doing something that you're focused on, suddenly you end up drifting, but you're drifting into that default mode network being switched on. It's trying to put patterns on top of things so that it can process the information that it is filtering. But when we focus on something with attention, we have that default mode network switched off. because if you're working on something you really care about, then all else ends up going to the background, to the subconscious mind. There's a quote by Steve Jobs where he says, if you are working on something that you really care about, you don't have to be pushed. The vision will pull you there. And this is where vision has our default mode network turned on. It has the capability of seeing that imaginative outlook to be able to create what it is that you're trying to achieve in your life. The brain's big picture processing. When we contemplate our future or dream up things that we want to create, we are within the default mode network. It is turned on to how we feel emotionally, how we feel about the past, and how we feel about the future going forward. Vision draws on a wider bandwidth of the mind. It scatters ideas and it starts to put together the things that are required. That's why rest will actually have you see things clearer, because you're able to step out, have the bigger picture focus, and things end up being more clearer because you've allowed your mind that ability to step into the default mode network. The difference between these two is a goal is laser focus. It's precise but limited in scope, while a vision is more panoramic. Maintaining a vision involves being across many parts of the mind. It's important to know the difference between the two modes. So when we are focused, we're using the default mode network off. When we are open, we are using the default mode network on. And why this is important is because we can start to program the both of them. As we know that the brain toggles between the two of them, we can identify when our mind is in need of walking away, when it wants to activate that system, so that we can give ourselves time to enter that system and come back in focus. This is the difference between focus and creativity. And this dynamic explains why we need to step back and see the big picture. Engaging the default mode network after grinding on details is why you'd hear many creators say that the important step of walking away to see the bigger picture is where those breakthroughs are found. The secret to all this is following a flow process. It's a framework. So you need to define your goals with clear, concrete steps, knowing that you are focusing with your default mode network off. So you are filtering through the right information, that those baby steps that you need to achieve your goal require knowing the information that you require to achieve them. And also with your subconscious mind, knowing that the programs beneath them and the beliefs may need reframing, or perhaps you're filtering new information that allows that subconscious mind to change the operating system, deleting the old apps and downloading the ones that are going to leverage your success. We can't filter every bit of information, but we can be more mindful of the conscious mind. Information in overload today with the distractions is a big reason why we derail our progress. So if we can be aware of these things, we're able to understand the power of your intention. Now, in the world, we are derailed by social media, distractions, and that's that information filtering through into that conscious awareness that we have. So in order to change that, we have to understand the power of our attention. And when we do this, we're able to see alignment and opportunities that others may miss because they're not able to process their information correctly. Thank you for watching. I'm Bianca Nielsen. I'm working on understanding how the brain operates. It's so important that we have purpose in life. And a bit of background, I lost all meaning in that. So it's really something that's really dear to my heart, because I think so often in life people lose touch with our ability to be autonomous. Autonomy is to have a strong sense of self, to be able to define myself in terms of my unique feelings, thoughts, preferences, aversions, values, desires, needs, and motivations. So that's a lot of the subconscious mind. And to be self-determined and self-governing according to the sense of self, which is your conscious mind. So it's my mission to be out there on this planet to create the life that they want and not get bogged down in systems that have been broken for a long time now. Thanks.